Hi guys, welcome to December and to our watercolor videos for this month. So we're going to kind of do a December Advent Calendar every week from Wednesday to Saturday. And so today we're starting off with the 12 gifts of Christmas. So 12 things that I think would be really nice to gift someone who is artfully inclined. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are beginners watercolors. So if you're gifting a set that is for a beginner, I think this is a beautiful one, and I have an entire video about this set. So this is the artist row, and there is also a pink version of this. I think the palette's a little bit more of a square. And yeah, it's just a really lovely version. So you can see that it comes with these kind of plastic inserts, and you can actually leave one. So I've been painting with this one up the top, and then you can put the brushes and everything that it comes with down there, and you could also start collecting some artist grade watercolors and putting those in there as well. Yeah, but I really love this palette because it's got a very sort of really nice selection here. We've got some metallics, we've got some neons, we've got just your regular really nice array of colors there. So yeah, I am really pleased with this palette, and I think this would be a really nice one for someone who is just learning about watercolors, or if you just want to set, like you can see here, we'll sort of talk about this in a minute, but you can see that I am using the palette sort of that comes in the tin to make like a handmade watercolor palette as well. So the other thing that you can do with this palette is just pull some of those, like if some of the colors you realize you're not using, and then you get some, you know, more artist grade ones, you can actually just pull some of those out and squeeze a bit of the artist grade tube in there as well. So this is another one that I really love. This is the Sennelier one, and you can see that I have taken out most of the colors that came with it, and this is what I'm talking about. Like you can just squeeze some artist grade tubes right in there. So I really like you know, being able to do that. So starting with a very simple palette and then just upgrading it as you can. So this one here, I do also have another dedicated video, so you can see what I've put in there, and also how to paint with it when, you know, with the colors that first come in it. And yeah, I'm showing you that I have my favorite Faber-Castell watercolor graphite in there, and also the Vinci travel brush, and I really love that travel brush as well. So I'll try and link as much of this as I can below. Okay, so we have 3 different types of watercolors in this list, because I think it's important to make the distinction here of what you are trying to sort of achieve with these watercolors. So first of all, the beginners one is really great to start with, and then you can upgrade that as you go. This one here is a artist grade palette, so you can see here, like it's got artist grade tubes. These are mostly, I think, Daniel Smith, Schminker. But I'm just showing you here, this one is a Wallace and Seymour. It's the Honister Green Slate Cumbria, something like that, but it's a really beautiful one. This is like the Earth Mineral Arts Lichen and Sage. And yeah, so you can see there that I just took the tube and squeezed that into this palette. So this is my favorites palette, and I do have a video swatching that all out as well. But I think that's a really nice way to go about it if you want to create a palette for yourself over Christmas, or create a palette for somebody else, maybe with tubes that you already have. And you can get these palettes and the empty half pans, and then you can fill them with, you know, a unique and a palette that matches, you know, what someone will like. So the third type of watercolors are handmade watercolors. I love handmade watercolors, so the palette here on the right, that was my first kind of foray into handmade watercolors, and then I made this little one, and yeah, then I'm making the big one. You can see there at the back on the left, so that's going to be filled with handmade watercolors. And when I first started, there wasn't, you know, I started with just student grade and a really cheap packet of the like Artist Loft shimmer colors from Michaels. So it was like, you know, I think $4 or something like that. And yes, since then, like, handmade watercolors have really grown, so there are so many to choose from now. I do share a lot of my favorite shops on the channel as well, but yeah, I just think that the mica to like the pigment, you know, binder ratio is really beautiful. You can see here, this is the Sun Gold from Paint and Paper Studio, and you just get a really beautiful you know, product. Okay, so number 4 on our list is pastels, and you can see here on my desk that I just keep this little plate of pastels, so I don't really go overboard with pastels. I mainly use them kind of as an accent to watercolor on occasion. So you can see here that I just really enjoy adding them over the top of watercolor, and then I will either press them into the paper or just kind of gently with circular motions sort of rub them into the paper there to create some really beautiful soft transitions, or like just a different texture. So I do have some videos on the channel. I probably need to try and make a pastel playlist as well of some of my favorites. And here we have a couple that will be coming up in the Christmas haul video. So these ones are Diane Townsend. I got them from Fine Art Store in Rochester, New York. And so you can see they're the more rectangular ones, they're the Terrages. And then the sort of circular cylinder ones, those are the soft form ones. So they're really beautiful, and yeah, it's just nice to have a couple of colors, you know, just to kind of accent your you know, artworks. So the next thing here we have are oil pastels. Now these are different to a regular pastel, which is more like, the pastels are more like, you know, chalky, and then these oil pastels, they don't dry, so they have kind of a very smooth finish, and they are really beautiful to use, but it is something to consider that they don't dry. But you can again still use them the same way. You can use your finger, or like a sort of a what are they called, the kind of stylus things like the paper ones, and you can also use those to blend them, a blending stump. So yeah, these ones are the Sennelier ones, and I've also been given a recommendation for the Caran d'Ache ones, which I haven't tried yet. They are on my wish list, which I've heard are really beautiful as well. So yeah, and along with the smaller ones, you can get these really large ones as well, which are so beautiful. I just have the gold one, but every time we go to the art shop, I just really love looking at these. They're really lovely. And these are more for larger artworks and, you know, backgrounds and that type of thing. But we have talked about how to create more loose artwork, And this is a good way, so using something that's out of proportion to the thing. So if you're trying to do a lot of detail, using something like that that's larger, or something like an oil pastel where you can't get a strict kind of point, and that will help you to loosen up a bit as well. So I think we're on to number 6 maybe. The pencils. I really also love pencils to accent the watercolors, to go over the watercolors, to go under watercolors. Yeah, they're just really lovely. So we're just swatching out a couple here. So I really like the Prismacolor ones, the luminance ones, and I do have quite a few videos as well on pencils and my favorite colors and things. So this one here is a new one. This is Holbein Luminous Red, and I also got the Holbeins from the Rochester Fine Art. So they do sell the Holbeins as well, because they're a bit tricky to get hold of. Yeah, and these are the luminance. I've been really loving this color. So this is the raw, I think it's the raw umber 10%. So as well as I didn't really break it up into sections, but you know, you've got pencils and then also watercolor pencils. So I really love the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle, and also the Supercolor Soft or Supercolor 2 from Caran d'Ache as well. So yeah, what are we on to? 7. The 7th thing I really like are these ornate trays. So the ones that I'm showing here, this one here is where I'm keeping my luminance at the minute, and then this one is a new one. So the last one was a Royal Doulton or Royal Albert. It's the poker floral. I'll try and link it below. And this one here is a celery dish. So you can type into Etsy floral celery tray or trinket dish, things like that, and ornate trinket dish or things like that. And yeah, some really beautiful antique, you know, trays and things out there that I really like the inspiration of them as they hold your art supplies. This one here is a Prussian one. I'm pretty sure it's Prussian, and it's got the beautiful florals and the really intricate designs, and then like even where the handles are, you know, you've got like the little holes for the handles. I really love it. And then these ones are, I think, some extra little trinket dishes there. So I'm planning to, for my mum this year for the 12 days of Christmas, to fill all these little ornate dishes with pastels and pencils and things like that for her. So I think that it's a really nice idea. I know that last year we talked about doing these, so we are on to number 8, which is acrylic inks. But last year we talked about you know, creating either an advent calendar or a 12 days of Christmas for someone, and I think it's a really nice idea. So here is another idea. These are the acrylic inks. So you may know that I love this Winsor & Newton gold ink, and I probably go through like a bottle of this every 9 months or so, I'd say. And then all these other ones here are in my 2020 top favorites supplies, so I'll link that video as well, so I don't really need to go into that there. Or I have probably a couple of videos about these, so I'll try and link those, and yeah, you can look through those videos for more info. But I really love using these inks with a dip pen and either writing or sketching with them. The gold nibs that I use are the E&M ones, and they just change everything. They're such an easy and beautiful product to use. But you can also just use them like this, these inks just with a paintbrush. So you certainly don't have to use them with a dip pen. And yeah, they just add something really beautiful to your artworks. I also really love this one. This is the FW shimmering green. So this is like the Daniel Smith Duochrome Lapis Sunlight in the watercolor, and yeah, but it's an ink, and it's just a really beautiful addition. This one will also be coming up in the Christmas haul. So this is the Sennelier Shellac Ink, and if you're having trouble with shimmering inks, or you just want a really beautiful ink to use with dip pens, this is a gorgeous one. So yeah, I haven't tried these before. Well, I have the silver, but not the non-shimmery ones, and it writes like a dream. It's really beautiful. So this color is the Bistra. And yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we are looking at are fountain pen inks. So these are different from the acrylic inks because the acrylic ones you have to use with a dip pen. You can't put them in a fountain pen, but with fountain pen inks you can put them in a fountain pen, so they're readily available. You know, it's less fussy, I guess. So if you kind of want to save time or something like that, these are really nice to use. I'm just going to use the dip pen here because they're not all in a pen, but these are my top 3 probably favorites, or the ones that I use the most. So this one here is the Diamine Night Sky. It's a black with a shimmer. It's really pretty. So this one I do have in a pen. I have it in the Pilot Cavalier, and I'll show you in a minute. The Pilot Cavalier from Jet Pens. It's a really thin pen, but I've used this one for like maybe maybe 3 years now, for my everyday planner, and I really love this one. It always writes, even if I leave it for a few days, I can always come back to it and kind of get it started. Like here I probably haven't written with it for about a week or two, and it just kind of takes a minute to get it started there, and then it just flows really well. So I think this year has been the first year probably in the 3 years that I haven't written every day with it, and it's still writing so beautifully. So I really like this nib, yeah. So I absolutely love this one as well. This is the Robert Oster Rose Gilt Tint. So you can see like it's got that sort of pinky brown there, and it's got a silver shimmer to it. The thing with shimmer inks is they are a little bit more difficult if you're using them in a fountain pen. They do need to be used and then sort of the pen cleaned out. So I often like to just put a little bit, so I won't fill up the whole barrel. I'll just put a little bit in, as much as I need to use, and then rinse the pen out. And then you can see like there wasn't very much in the actual pen. But this one here is my other favorite, third favorite. This is the Ferris Wheel Press Cream of Earl. So this is a beautiful ink, the beautiful ink bottle and the packaging. I really love these, but I was shocked actually. So I haven't been using this as much because I'm always worried about you know, running out of things and kind of having to restock. This ink seems to have, so I'm not sure if I've had this for a year or two, but this ink seems to have greyed a little bit. So the pink's sort of gone, and then it's a little bit more green. And I will show you in a minute kind of a comparison. So it hasn't faded on the page where I wrote with it at first, but it has faded, I think, in the bottle, unless I just didn't shake it up enough or something. Yeah, but then I just showed you there, I'm running behind. We're into sketchbooks, but also you could see the little ink vials, and I think that's such a nice idea for like the 12 days of Christmas or an advent calendar as well. So sketchbooks, one of my favorite ways to have a sketchbook and to have the paper that you really like and enjoy to paint with is to get a traveler's notebook. So this one's from Traveler's Company. To get your favorite paper and then to create an insert for that traveler's notebook that you can use. So this one here is a nature journal insert, and I do have a video explaining all about this one. But I have a couple of traveler's notebooks that are just for art. Now they're just dedicated to art, and I really enjoy having that flexibility. And you can see there the little pine cone. So I'm trying to catch up on the nature journal. I got a bit behind this year, and then we will do videos once I'm kind of caught up on that. But yeah, this is an A6 one. So that was a standard traveler's notebook, and this is an A6 one. So it's just 4 inches by 6 inches. And I have this little, well, I have a whole video about this as well, but this is the little Apica notebook from Jet Pens, and I really love this just to do swatches and kind of, you know, try things out. But you can see here on the left, there's the Creamaville, and this is actually Creamaville as well. So you can see how much that ink has changed. So it didn't change on the page, but it has changed. Just, it's not been in the sun or anything. It's just been sitting in the ink file. So there is a good reason to use your supplies. Don't be afraid to use your supplies. So here is another traveler's notebook. This is the B6, and I actually got this one from Linden Tree Leather on Etsy. This is a really beautiful one. I've been using it this year as my planner, and I do have a video about this over on Heirloom Luxe, my other sort of journal planner channel. And you can see here that I've also used the back pages for swatching and sketching. And I also had a sketchbook in here for a while, and I've also, yeah, so I've switched out 2 different sketchbooks in behind this planner as well, depending on what I'm doing at the time and what I'm working on. And then this one here is just a little sketchbook that I got off Etsy last year, I think, and I just found it the other day. So this is a botanical eco print, and then she has created covers for this actual journal, so, or sketchbook, and you can pick the paper that's in there, but you can see I just so it actually comes with like a different kind of elastic, a black elastic, and I just cut that out, and then I just put this silk ribbon through. So I really love this, and I really love just the it's so inspiring. I really love those eco prints, and you can actually buy papers now on Etsy that's just the eco print paper, and then you could make your own sketchbook. So this one here is another video we're going to do about making a sketchbook, and we have used that on the channel in the last haul, so the video is coming up soon for that one. These ones here are the Hanamula Nostalgia, and I just really love the covers on these, but I actually wish there was a better paper quality. Like, I wish there was cotton paper in these, but they are fine, you know, to use, and they are just, I just really love the cover. So this is another sketchbook that I really love. I do have a video dedicated to this one, and we will be painting this hopefully later on this week. Yeah, if I could have my dream notebook, or sketchbook, it would be this paper in the Artarama nostalgia cover that I just showed you. Yeah, so we've been working through this. I've got plenty of videos on this paper, and I really love this. I think there are 3 or 4 pages left, which I'm hoping we'll actually get to do some videos this month. You can see how well it glazes here. That's, you know, sparkle colors glazed and everything. And yeah, but I am nearly finished this one, and I'll definitely be repurchasing it because I really enjoyed working in that. And then this one here is the Midori MD Cotton. So this is the FO, and you can get these from Jenny Bick or from St. Louis Art Supply, which is kind of a new shop to me, but they have some really interesting sketchbooks and things like that. So yeah, you can see here on this paper I don't use watercolor. This is a sketchbook for pencils. I really love how pencils come out on this paper. And I do have a video showing how to like burnish these color wheels on the channel as well. So yeah, it's just a really beautiful sketchbook. If you know that people want to work with pencils or even inks like fountain pens and things, this is a really beautiful one. So another thing to add to the sketchbook, say you're sending one of these as a present, would be really nice to use some of your water-soluble art supplies and create a little watercolor palette. So here I've got some of the Neocolor 2s and some of the Caran d'Ache Museum aquarelles, and these are Stabilo 3-in-1s, and I really love creating these. So I have shown this in a recent video about roses, and I painted early on, I painted quite a few things with just a little palette like this. And so I think this would be really nice if you're having people over for Christmas, and maybe the kids' table, you could be making some little palettes for them as well. So you can make the swatches, you know, as big or small as you want. You can make the palettes as big or small. I show you in a minute kind of how to use these. Here's another example where we've again, this is like maybe 5 years old, so we have used a piece of just the watercolor paper from the Walmart paper pad and added our own watercolors. So they're from you know, watercolor tubes, and the nice thing about this is that you can again tailor the palette to people's specific color choices, and so you could create a different one for everyone. Yeah, and just use some of those old supplies as well, so, and get people, you know, excited and interested in art and in watercolor. So you could also use the what are they called? So the gelatos, I really enjoy those as well, and I used to use those quite a lot as well in a palette like this. So you probably have some of these type of supplies floating around that you can create some really nice palettes either to send as gifts or, you know, for those gatherings that you might be having over the holidays. And I'm just creating kind of a quick little painting here to show you how I like to use them and build them up in very light layers, so you don't have to use them like this. But I really enjoy the way these glaze as well, so you can definitely practice anything that you are trying to use watercolors for. You can definitely practice it with a little palette like this. I also have a video, I think, over on Heirloom Luxe where I created a palette and I took it on a trip in a traveler's notebook as well. So that's another thing that you could just make one of these and take it with you, you know, as kind of a travel watercolor palette. So number 11 are silk ribbons. I absolutely love silk ribbons. You can get these ones. I really like the shop's Shy Myrtle off Etsy. So yeah, she has a beautiful selection, and you can put some on a wooden spool like this and just give people a few to choose from, or you could wrap gifts in them or add them to a sketchbook. The last thing is books. So I really love books that are art inspired, but here I've just got two different ones here. So these are the like Pride and Prejudice annotate. So this is an annotated version, and then the other one is the Emma. So I love that movie. So I got my sister the Pride and Prejudice one, and then she got me this Emma one, the movie with Gwyneth in it. So yeah, and you can see like the beautiful detailing. The books are really heavy and thick, and then they've got all kinds of different facts and pictures and all kinds of things in there. So this is a really nice thing. It's not exactly, not everything necessarily needs to be art, exactly like arty. I feel like it can just inspire you. So yeah, but there are certainly so many beautiful botanical illustration books and all kinds of different things to try. So anyway, that is my top 12 kind of ideas for gifts for the season. And like I said, I will hopefully be back tomorrow and until Saturday, and then we will work on that for the Advent calendar for now. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a really lovely day. Bye.